There's something about Superman that's hard to explain. Something timeless. A certain warmth. He's not just one of the first superheroes, he's largely become the blueprint, the foundation, the reason the word superhero exists at all, and yet, in modern cinema, he's often felt like a puzzle directors can't solve. Too noble, too strong, too ideal, too perfect, too boring. At least that's how it felt some saw him. For years, watching DC try to build something meaningful has felt like watching someone with a beautiful voice sing the wrong song over and over again. Off key, off message. I slowly lost hope. And that's so ironic, because Superman is supposed to be the very embodiment of hope. For years, I felt like I'd never see this character handled with care on the big screen again. And don't get me wrong, I loved Man of Steel. I think Henry Cavill had the makings of a great Superman, but everything after Man of Steel really missed the mark for me. Just the constant sidestepping of potential. I got to the point of believing that all DC could ever be was misrepresented. As a die-hard DC boy, I grew accustomed to disappointment. I was ready for disappointment. It was expected. But not this time. This film, this Superman film, reminded me why this character mattered in the first place. It made me feel again, not just nostalgia, although there is a bit of that, but what this movie left me feeling is optimistic. It brought me back to the golden glow of Saturday mornings watching Superman the Animated Series, which is my favorite version of Superman. For me, Superman the Animated Series was the beginning. It was one of my earliest windows into the world of DC alongside Batman the Animated Series. It was my first understanding of who Superman really is. Not just a man of steel, but a man of warmth. There's a glow to that show, a quiet yet vibrant comfort that radiates from every frame. You feel it in the way he protects people, in the way he smiles, in how he stops to help even the smallest creature. Whether he's saving all of Metropolis or gently rescuing a lost cat, Superman cares deeply. And that simple, unwavering kindness is what made him, at least for me, unforgettable. James Gunn's Superman is bright, heartfelt and sincere. No more trend chasing, but allowing the character to be something different. And yeah, it's kinda silly. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a little campy, but it's so earnest. That sense of light, the feeling of enjoyment and fun. I felt something I wasn't sure a Superman film could ever get me to feel again. This movie did for me what Superman is meant to do. It gave me hope. This movie gets Superman, not as a god or as a stoic ideal, but as a man, a person. He believes in people, even when it's hard, even when they don't believe in themselves. That's the core. That's what's so important. Superman isn't just strong because he can fly or shoot lasers from his eyes. He's strong because every day he chooses to be kind. This version of Clark Kent understands duality. He's a Kryptonian, yes, but he longs to be human. He walks among us, raised with love by human parents, trying to do good not out of obligation, but because he wants to, he chooses to. This story leans into that duality, the immigrant experience, the struggle of belonging, the guilt of power, the ache of loneliness. More than anything, the decision to lead by example, not to rule, not to dominate, but to inspire. We've seen so many Superman stories where the question is, what if he turned evil? But the question this movie asks is, what if he stayed good even when everything told him not to? Superman has so much stacked against him in this movie. He has absolutely every reason to turn his back on the world after they have mostly turned their back on him. But he doesn't do that. He sticks to his guns, and he keeps actively choosing to do his absolute best regardless of what anyone thinks. He wants to save people, and he wants to help the world. He wants to protect anyone and everyone, even those who might not deserve it. He is relentlessly kind. He absolutely refuses to entertain even the idea of losing hope. He chooses to get back up and keep fighting for truth and justice, no matter what, his morality untouched. He continues to choose kindness, and that is true power. There's a loneliness to Superman that this film explores beautifully. He may have been raised by loving parents, he may be surrounded by colleagues and allies, he may even have Lois Lane, but deep down, he still feels apart, alone. That isolation hit me harder than I expected, because even surrounded by love, you can still feel like you're floating just above it, not fully a part of the world you're protecting. For someone who's felt out of place for a lot of their life, someone like me, that's real. Especially when he learns the truth, that he was sent here not just as a refugee, but as a conqueror, that everything he believed about his origins may have been a lie. The symbol he wears with pride might have darker roots. Watching him wrestle with that hit home, because sometimes learning where you come from doesn't give you peace. Sometimes it breaks you. But Superman rises above this. He doesn't let it hold him down. Instead of feeling as though that should dictate his actions, he chooses to continue to protect. He essentially disowns his biological parents and remembers that his human parents were who raised him. He's hurt and upset by this reveal, but he doesn't fester in it. After a beautiful pep talk by Pa Kent, he realizes just how beautiful the world really is. He remembers to continue reaching for the good, because that's who he is, because that's who he was raised to be. I think we could all use a little extra positivity in our lives, and this movie, this Superman, is a wonderful example of the true beauty of positivity and being who you feel you are rather than who you are told to be. And then there's the media. The way Lex Luthor manipulates the narrative is unsettling because it's familiar. He doesn't need an army, he needs a headline. He spins the story, twists the truth, turns the world against its greatest protector, not through force, but fear. This section of the plot makes for some particularly interesting social commentary. It asks how we treat those who protect us, how fragile is trust, how quickly does fear replace admiration. It's a look at how power is perceived, especially when it's the power that comes from someone we don't fully understand. I think Lex Luthor really works for me in this movie. I enjoyed the characterization. He didn't feel like a mustache-twirling villain for the most part. He felt like a man who has been absolutely and utterly destroyed and consumed by envy. He fears how good Superman is. He wants to be the person that the world looks up to. He feels he's worked too hard to not be in a spot of pure admiration. But at the same time, he has an intense sense of pride and entitlement. He acts so nonchalant about so many things, even when he's doing something absolutely awful, like potentially putting not only all of Metropolis, but the entire planet at risk multiple times, all purely for the sake of bringing down Superman. All he wants is to be adored and admired, but he doesn't get that the same way Superman does. He feels as though Superman hasn't had to work a day in his life in order to be admired and loved by the general public. There's a sense of privilege he feels Superman was granted just by showing up on Earth, which is beautifully ironic because it's made very clear by Nicholas Holt's performance that Lex Luthor is actually the one who's been privileged for the majority of his life. But at the same time, there's something sort of relatable in Lex this time around for me. I felt like I could understand where he was coming from to a degree. More so than previous renditions of the character, even though I obviously think he goes too far in various areas because he's extremely villainous and mean-spirited. but underneath a lot of his layers, there are some fairly easily understandable motivations and feelings. I've seen people consumed by bitterness and rage the same way he is in this movie. I've experienced a little bit of that in my own life. Watching someone be so privileged when you've scratched and clawed for everything you have. I don't agree with Lex, but I do understand him. David Corenswet gets it. He's got that Clark Kent warmth, the quiet strength, the humility, the hint of sadness in the smile. He's not just playing Superman, he's feeling him. His chemistry with Lois is great. His moments of doubt are grounded, and when he stands tall, I believe it. He's not a god trying to be human. He's a man trying to be good. Just a simple country boy who does his absolute best every single day to put one foot in front of the other and get out there and help people. He's not self-serving, he's just extremely caring, and that's a delicate balance to strike when portraying Superman. The supporting cast is pretty good across the board. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is sharp and capable without losing her vulnerability. She has a lot of depth even though she doesn't have a whole lot of screen time. Jimmy brings jokes and a lot of fun without just straight up being comic relief. The Justice Gang is good, but not necessarily relevant to the plot in any way. I enjoyed them for the most part, but I don't really feel all of them needed to be there. Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern is snarky and kind of an asshole, but in a very caring and oddly endearing type of way. Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl was kind of a nothing character, which is unfortunate because I really enjoy Isabella Merced, but she didn't have anything to do as a character throughout the film. I felt like she had too much screen time and too little relevance. It's nothing against the actress, she did what she was supposed to do. I just don't really understand why she was here for the most part. You could essentially remove Hawkgirl altogether and nothing would change at all. But that's not really a complaint so much as an observation. I don't mind her being present because I enjoy Hawkgirl and I enjoy Isabella Merced. I guess if anything, I just wish she had more to do, and I hope she gains more to do in a meaningful way moving forward. But Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, he was perfect. He added to the story in meaningful ways. He was really entertaining and captivating every time he was on screen. He was really funny. He had heart. He actually played a significant role in the plot. And even though we didn't get much of his lore or his background, I was very interested in his character and thoroughly enjoyed every moment he was on screen. I don't know much about Mr. Terrific, but I am very excited for the future of this character. I want to see him more. He's kind of a scene stealer, and I really look forward to whatever project is next that has him in it. Everyone who was part of this film really seemed to give it their all, from the major roles to the glorified extras. There's a scene with a woman in her car on a bridge who absolutely had no reason to have any significance whatsoever, but she had a small, slightly interactive scene with Superman, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. Everyone played their part extremely well. It's a cast that really cares, and it shows. In 2007, Spider-Man 3 was released to a lukewarm audience reception and a subsequent annihilation by critics. Shortly after, in 2008, two of the most influential superhero films ever made were released in Iron Man and The Dark Knight. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is because I feel that Spider-Man 3 was the end of an era, the end of a very specific type of superhero movie. As much as I dislike that movie and can recognize it has a cavalcade of issues, it still had that sense of earnesty. It wore its heart on its sleeve, and it was unapologetic in what it was trying to portray through its characters, while Iron Man and The Dark Knight were the birth of a new era, an era I don't think we have escaped since then. Of course, both of those movies are fantastic, some of the best we've ever seen, but through The Dark Knight's massive success and Iron Man kickstarting an entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, something felt different. Suddenly, every superhero movie was attempting to recreate what both of those films achieved so impressively. Everything became filtered through grittiness, being sarcastic, witty, or grounded. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but somewhere along the way, I think we lost something. We lost the earnestness, a bit of the heart, but this Superman movie brings some of that back for me. It reminded me of that Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, especially Spider-Man 2. where being a hero isn't about trying so hard to be cool. Being a hero isn't about being cool. Being a hero is painful and difficult. Making good choices doesn't come with ease or through sarcasm and wittiness. Being a hero is choosing to help people, getting beaten down and doing your best to get back up because there still might be someone in need. It's not easy. It doesn't always look cool. A lot of times it doesn't feel very good. It's exhausting, but it's beautiful and it's worth it. Superman in this film doesn't wink at the camera. He doesn't act like he's too good for the cape. He believes in it. He believes in people, and somehow that made me believe again too. This Superman isn't trying to impress me. He's trying to uplift me, and it worked. And I've already said this, but it made me feel the way I felt when I was a kid watching Superman the animated series, learning constant lessons and being instilled with wondrous yet heartfelt morality along the way. This movie took me back to the original DC animated universe. It felt inspired and full of excitement. It felt big, larger than life, like I was watching pages freshly ripped out of a comic book. It was gorgeous. When I left the theater, I felt like I wanted to do whatever I could to be the best version of me possible. This movie made me want to tell the people close to me that I love them and that no matter what comes our way, we can do our absolute best to handle anything and everything together. Superman filled me with hope and love and joy in a way a superhero movie hasn't been able to do for me in many years. It made me want to be a better person. This movie reminded me why I love superheroes. It's not the powers, not the spectacle, though of course I do thoroughly enjoy those aspects of superheroes and their respective movies and franchises, but really it's the people, their struggles, their choices. Superman isn't cool or interesting to me because he can bench press 200 quintillion tons. He's cool and interesting to me because he chooses kindness. He listens, he lifts others up, he tries. That's the part we forget in a lot of modern storytelling. Writers and filmmakers are so often engulfed in the idea of making their character feel as cool as possible or look as flashy as possible. But because of that, a lot of the heart is lost. Superheroes were born through the need for empowering symbolism, the light in the darkness. Superman was created by two young Jewish men who just wanted to see someone who would be willing to defend them from the constant anti-Semitism they were facing in their community and throughout the world in general at the time. They needed someone they could look up to, someone that could bring them comfort and a sense of safety. They needed hope, and in that intense need for hope, Superman was born. I think Superman serves as a reminder that it's okay to be kind, even in the face of anger, rudeness, or oppression. To look after your neighbor simply because you can. To make the time for those you care about because you feel they deserve to know just how much you really do care. A reminder that heroes don't need to be edgy to be interesting. That sincerity is not weakness, it's bravery. This film captures that bravery, and I'm thankful for it. Hope is something we need. Genuine, true hope. Not just in cinema, in life. Through the darkest of times, a symbol that shines bright and guides us. A symbol that reminds us that kindness is strength, that compassion matters, that doing the right thing isn't naive. It's powerful. It's necessary. I never thought I'd see a Superman film like this again, and I am so happy and relieved to say that I was definitely wrong in thinking that. This is my favorite iteration of Superman in many years. I think the tone really works, and I've said it so many times, but it reminds me of the animated series in so many ways. It has the heart, it has the comedy, it has the light. I know not everyone will feel the same way. I'm just glad I do, and I appreciate feeling so strongly that I was motivated to make this video because it's not very often I am motivated by a film in this way. I think this movie will be somewhat polarizing in certain ways. I feel it will either really work for you or it just won't at all. I went into it fully expecting not to like it very much. My expectations were ground level at best. Like I said, I had lost hope. The trailers had intrigued me, but I was still cautiously optimistic. And if I'm being completely honest, my general distaste for the suit had really distracted me. But I kept an open mind because I love DC and I thoroughly enjoy a good Superman story. Even then, I have to say, I was not expecting to enjoy this film as much as I did. I did not expect to be taken back to my childhood and reminded so heavily of Superman the Animated Series with its tone and genuine care and craftsmanship put into the character. I was thoroughly and pleasantly surprised. James Gunn delivered something special here. David Corenswet gave us a Superman with soul, and DC, for the first time in quite a while, feels like it's moving towards something meaningful. This movie didn't just entertain me, it inspired me. It reminded me to keep trying, to believe in people, to believe in myself. And I truly feel that is what Superman is all about. This movie reminded me of what it feels like to believe again. It really did bring me back to my childhood, to a time when heroes weren't ironic or reluctant, when they wanted to do the right thing simply because it was right. It moved me. It made me want to be better, not because I have to be, but because I can choose to be. Superman is special, not because he always wins, but because he always tries. Even when the world feels incredibly heavy, he will always show up, and he'll show up for us. We have been delivered something remarkably beautiful in its simplicity. A Superman who doesn't feel ashamed of what he stands for. A Superman who believes in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves anymore. And in a time when the world feels heavier than ever, maybe that is exactly the Superman we need right now.